to be with you, to spend this time with you, and to talk about various things in the holistic approach that Essential Infusions Plus takes for helping people. And so I'm Coach Mike. I'm a personal trainer and health coach, life coach, et cetera, et cetera. And go ahead and introduce yourself.
And I'm Dara Bridgman. I'm also a part of EIP, and I am also a health coach, lifestyle coach. Part of the team.
Awesome. So we thought we would give Angie the night off. You know, Angie's the founder and nurse practitioner, founder of Essential Infusions Plus. So giving her tonight off, and Dara and I decided to come together and talk about not necessarily nutrition in the sense of like prescribing, you know, exactly what to eat, this or that. That's not really within our scope. But as we both said, we're both into kind of lifestyle changes, behavior changes, uh, habit changes, a lot of things that can be hard, especially when you feel like you're overwhelmed with different things. So just talking about different aspects of nutrition, how to be ready. So with that, I'm going to let Dara go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah. So I know from personal experience that nutrition is one of the hardest parts. I honestly think it is the hardest part. I can work out, I can do it. I can show up, I can work out 5 days a week. But like yesterday, for example, I think I was probably running on 500 calories and had an intense workout, and I was kicking myself. It was just horrible. Or maybe you're overeating. It could be either one, but your nutrition is so important for your goals. And so I wanted to share some meal prep strategies that I try to implement. Now, I'm not going to tell you I do them perfectly. I have littles and they keep me on my toes, and it is really hard to be super structured. You have to go with the flow sometimes. So, but some of the strategies that I have loved over the years and still try to implement, I have 4 of them for you. The first one, I would call like the buffet style meal prep. So this would be where you would go grocery shopping and then you would come home and you would like prep all of your food. So you'd like wash and cut your fruits and vegetables however you wanted them. And then you'd put them in their separate containers, and you would cook your proteins and put them in their separate containers. And then as you go through your week, you would just grab and go the pre-prepped food to fit whatever you're feeling that day. And so, but that just cuts down a lot of messing around during the week because everything's just ready. You're just grabbing it. And a little side note, no matter what style works best for you, something I have found that works the best across the board is to pre-cook your meats. I don't know if that is gross to some people, but I think we've all been there where it's 4:30 in the afternoon and you know, you may look at your spouse and say, "What's for dinner?" And we're like, "I don't know." But 4:30 is a little late to be pulling out meat from the freezer. So if you already have pre-cooked meat, all you have to do is grab that pre-cooked meat out of the fridge or out of the freezer. So much faster to throw a healthy, protein-rich meal together, you know.
And it's kind of funny because we didn't talk about this, but I also will cook anywhere from like 3 to 5 days out. Like when I barbecue or something, you know, I'll make enough for the next 3 to 5 days because, like you said, by the time I get home from work at 5:30 or 6 or whatever, I'm not feeling like you know, doing this whole thing about getting ready for dinner.
Yes. And then what do you end up doing? You almost end up pretty much having a carb heavy meal because that's what's quick, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that's like, you know, that's just what happens. It's easier to consume lots of carbs because they generally don't take as much prep time as, you know, vegetables and protein. And protein is where I think a lot of people really struggle. I know I struggle. I don't get enough protein either. So it's a constant process, but so you can do the buffet style meal prep. The next one I would say would be to like pre-portion your meals for the week. And I did this a lot when I was single, and even when my husband and I first got married, it worked out really well. So I would just make, you know, 4 meals, and then I would put them all in individual containers. So it's one container you grab and go. And so this was really simple, but now that I have a family, that's not realistic. So I think we need to just evaluate where we are in life and realize that we might be using a combination of meal prep strategies, or they just might evolve as we go on. So but that works well for a lot of people. It's simple, hassle-free. Um, Another option is to assemble your meals ahead of time, but not cook. So maybe you throw everything together for a crock pot meal, and that way, you just either have to grab it out of the fridge or freezer, and then you can throw it in the crock pot the morning of, and it's done. Um, and then I would say the last one, number 4, would be to batch cook, which is what you said, Mike,
Yeah. Yep.
or to pre-cook your meals. And this is by far what I do the most, just because I have a family. And so if I'm going to be cooking a meal, then I'm going to make like double or triple and either freeze part of it or, well, I should say no matter what, I always make enough to have leftovers, but then, it's a bonus if you make even more and you can freeze part of it. And I like to freeze, especially in the winter, like soups and stuff. I'll freeze them in like quart size baggies, because that's like a great portion either for myself or myself and one other child. And it's just smaller quantities that are easy for like lunches or stuff. Or if I'm making, a dozen muffins, I'll just make 2 dozen muffins and then freeze half, and we'll grab and go in the morning, and it's just so much quicker. So I use a combination of all of these, but it just goes back to where you're at and with your schedule, what's going to work best for you. But these are 4 that have helped me tremendously reach my goals.
Yeah. No, I like that. And sometimes I think the problem is it's easy to get discouraged when you have an off day, or like you said,
Yes.
we both have families, and so I make a plan, but it's not really always up to me whether or not that plan is going to fully come to fruition or not. So we have to be flexible. And one thing I struggle with personally is if I've really been regimented for 4 or 5 days, and something happens like summertime, I got tons of friends and family coming to visit. Every day
Mm-hmm.
is off. Every weekend is different. They want to go out, they want to experience things, and so I'm trying to, for me even, I'm trying to balance where I can enjoy life and go out and have fun with them, and not overeat, and maybe choose to eat certain things that are better for me overall, and then the next day not be defeated like, well, I've been too
Yeah.
bad, right? Bad, which we shouldn't think of it as, right? We've been too bad now. So that's kind
Yeah,
of the mental, and for a lot of people, emotional struggle that we
it
go through
is.
with behaviors and habits.
It is. It is. And I 100% agree. I get very frustrated sometimes, um, when I'm consistently not able to reach my goals. But that's either, I feel like, where we need to evaluate whether our goals are realistic, or B, whether we need to pick a new strategy. But no matter what, I think that, as long as we keep going, right? And we just don't say, throw up our hands and be like, that's it, I'm done, I'm done. It's too discouraging. It's just, we have to think long term. We're running a marathon, not a sprint.
Right. Yeah. And one thing, I guess one reason we talk about nutrition on top of the obvious benefits of your blood levels and energy, and all these different things. As a trainer, and I'm sure you've had this too. I've had several clients. One I actually have right now, and they're really, really, really want to get rid of their midsection. That's their goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we were talking about it, and we're working on it. Obviously, it's, I don't know what your percentage is, but I can easily say that it's 85% diet, 15% working out.
Yeah.
That's at least in my range. Some people say 80-20, some people say 90-10, whatever it is, right? But we
Mm-hmm.
can all agree that the nutrition and diet side, what you eat, is a higher percentage when you come in to try to firm up the midsection, to lose weight, etc., versus working out. So I was
Yes.
talking to them, and I've been trying to say this for 3 or 4 sessions now, that it's really, we got to talk about what are you eating and this and that, and they really just aren't ready.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're just not really ready to do it yet, and that's okay. We all are
Mm-hmm.
where we are. At least we're working out, but you're not gonna really obtain the results you want, I think, unless you take a more holistic approach to this, which is going to include
Absolutely.
taking what you eat. So
Absolutely. I
on the
think
flip
we've
side,
all,
go ahead.
oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say, I think we've all heard that term, like abs are made in the kitchen.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
unfortunately, it's true. You
yeah,
can't, when you eat too many calories, there's no way around it. You're going to gain weight or you're not going to lose weight.
yeah. Yeah, and the flip side, when I'm working out hard, like I'm in a season even now where I'm lifting heavier, and I'm hungrier, right? I mean,
Yeah.
your body is like a car. You have to fuel it, right? And the food that we
Mm-hmm.
put in is the greatest fuel that we use. So, it's a trade-off. And then the flip side, if you ate way too much of a deficit, like if I'm at 6'4", if I'm only eating 500 calories in a day, there's a problem, right? I mean, I have
Yes.
lots of
Yeah.
problems other than that. So you can't go the opposite way, And so
Yeah.
you talked about meal prepping, so I'll just talk a little bit about snacks. And this is good for me to talk about because this is the struggle of my life that I've had to kind of keep working at and working at. And I find that obviously that the time that we're usually probably looking for snacks is whenever we're out and about, running errands, doing something, realizing we're hungry. And like you said, what's the easiest thing to get? It's always going to
Yeah.
be candy. It's going to be junk food. It's going to be chips. And even the fact that healthier food in general costs so much more than processed food or junk food, right? I mean, it's hard. There's a lot of reasons why. It's not just the cravings and what I want and stuff, but it's also even the socioeconomic, the price of things that can be a struggle. So if I'm out and about and I'm hungry, I've already done something wrong. So I
Yeah.
actually think of snacks in the same way of prepping as you think of meal prepping. Like if you see my bag when I go to work, I've got 4 or 5 different kind of protein bars, a variety, because I get
Mm-hmm.
bored with one. Right? I've been eating
Yeah.
protein bars for years. I got to get a variety of them so that I have different options, right? I've got a couple of beef jerky at different brands, and I try to go for the ones that are a little less fat. But I'm not really scared of fat. Some people are really scared of eating fat, but protein, we need fat, right? Protein, fat, we need it
Absolutely.
all. Yeah,
Yep.
so I'm not scared of it. But I would say that there's obviously other things like Greek yogurt is a great go-to snack. Greek yogurt you can put in granola. You can put in all kinds of fresh fruit. This is kind of the season where you can, at least in our area, you can find all the fresh fruit on sale at your local farmers market and stuff, right? You can do all that. Um, there's also fruits and vegetables like green peppers. I'll just take a green pepper, rip out the core, rinse it off, and eat it like an apple. And it's
Mm-hmm.
funny the look people give me because it's just normal to me. I don't know. It's good. I like the crunchiness. I like the flavor. It's a green pepper. Why not? So I'll eat vegetables pretty straight up. And one thing I've been doing more lately is I've been eating more fruit lately. And I stopped for a while because my assumption was that the natural sugar, which is in a lot of fruit, was too much. And I don't know what you think about this. You can chime in, but the different research I read and information I looked at and stuff is kind of one guy kind of said it that really struck out to me. He said, of the thousands of people we've helped, there really hasn't been anyone that has been severely, obese or really out of range because they ate too many vegetables and fruit. So
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
relax a little bit. Let's have a
Yeah.
banana when you need a potassium. Let's grab some
Mm-hmm.
strawberries when they're on sale, fresh strawberries or whatever. And so I've
Yeah.
actually increased the fruit in the past 3 or 4 months, probably because of that,
Yeah.
podcast that we had.
Berries are fantastic. They're great for you for so many reasons. But I'm with you. I'm not a fan of cutting food groups unless you have a specific health reason too. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you are a cancer patient, you should be trying to avoid all carbs and all sugars. Unfortunately, that would mean fruit as well.
Yeah.
Um, but otherwise, I mean, yeah, I'm just not a fan of cutting things if there's not an absolute medical reason not to, or to
Yeah.
cut it, I should say.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with you.
And my biggest thing is probably protein bars. And that's probably because I get a little bit of that candy bar sense with some of them.
Yeah.
Although they have 20 grams of protein. But the only thing I don't really want to endorse a certain brand, but there are definitely ones that I look at. I look at how much added sugar is in it. So
Yes.
great, it's got 20 grams of protein, but it's got also 20 or 30 grams of added sugar. There's a problem there in the ratio for what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
do. So I found some really good protein bars I like where they're anywhere from 4 to 8 grams of added sugar, which is pretty low, I guess, considering the alternatives and everything
Yeah.
you can do. I've tried the real healthy protein bars, and they taste like paste. They just
They
taste like
taste it
paste.
real healthy, right?
Yeah, they taste real healthy, like to where I wasn't even eating them. So what's the point again if I'm not going to eat them?
Yes.
So I didn't
Yes.
do that, but
That's what my husband says when he doesn't like something that I cook. He says it tastes really healthy.
super healthy.
Yeah, so
And
I get it. I get it.
and then the other thing I do, again, I'm not brand specific, but for me, I love this is like a water infuser. So there's just like a little cylinder on the inside, and I've actually got a
Oh
cucumber
yeah.
in it today. You can get
Yum.
them on Amazon, but I'll fill it with lemons one day, cucumber the next day, and I love it. So with cucumber, obviously you get the antioxidants, but they also say that cucumber will help with some hunger, not suppression, but kind of keep it in check, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lemons, obviously, we know as well. Lemon water is good. So we're all about water, but I easily drink water. Like I drink gallons of water a day. I just
Yeah.
do. And so adding some kind of infuser like this, where there's a little cylinder in the middle, you can put whatever in it you want, and it just kind of infuses the water all day long. I
Yeah.
like doing that. That's something I started doing recently. It's cucumber today. It'll probably be lemon tomorrow. Kind of switch it
Yeah.
up, but it
Especially
gives
in
a
the
flavor to the
summer.
water. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so
When it's
refreshing.
yeah, and it's easy to access right now.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the
They're
fruits and
abundant.
things. Yeah. Yeah. So hey, that's about all I got for me. Do you have anything else you want to say before we close out this session?
I think my last comment would be, you kind of touched on it earlier, but this is something I like to talk about. You mentioned like fuel and how we want to fuel our bodies. And so whatever, wherever we're at on our nutrition journey, um, eating is always a struggle. We're supposed to eat to live, not live to eat. But then, there are people who get stuck on, calories, just calories only, calories in, calories out. And if I'm, you know, taking in less calories than I am expending, then I'm okay. And to a certain extent, that is okay. But I would challenge anyone who has that mentality that it also, like you mentioned, it comes down to like how you're fueling your body. So if you're fueling your body with things that are highly processed, maybe you're meeting your calorie goals, but you're not going to meet your performance goals because of what you're eating. So I try to think of when I'm going to eat certain foods, not that I don't indulge in, cookies or whatever. It's all about balance. But on a day to day, is this food going to help me perform how I want to perform?
Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying? And thinking of
Yeah, it's
food
good.
in terms of, like you said, fuel and how are we fueling our bodies? Because that's also just a part of it. So trying to like rewire our brains from bad foods or good foods and more focus on, is this food going to help me reach my goals?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And then for me, I guess something you touched on too is I think the saying goes, failing to plan is planning to fail. And so,
Yes.
you talked a lot about planning, prepping, being ready, and life has a lot of uncertainties. So the more we can do to prepare for it and to be ready for those uncertainties, not that it's always going to work out, but in a pinch when I'm in a hurry and I don't want to grab, a 2,000 calorie McDonald's thing, right? Instead I have this
Mm-hmm.
that I made 2 days ago that's ready for me. It gives you better options and to not feel like you're cornered with time, because time is valuable, right? It takes
Yeah.
time to prep, but down the road, the point is that it also saves time on other days.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
Awesome. Well, Dara, thanks. It was good. Obviously, EIP Nation will be back next week with something
yes.
else. And we're always here every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. If you have any questions, you can see the website there, or reach out to us, give us a phone call. We're here for you. We'll see
All
you.
right. Great. Thanks, Mike.
Bye. Thanks.